Okay, okay. So good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to have to welcome you all to this particular webinar on Beyond the Degree, Research Grants and Global Opportunities in Public Health. So my name is David from Sentinel team, and I'm going to be your host tonight. I'm thrilled to see so many bright minds, from different parts of the world joining us. And I understand that most of us are future leaders, innovators, and change makers, particularly in public health. So tonight, this is not just going to be a webinar. It's going to be like more of a launch pad. And over the next 90 minutes, you guys are going to hear from 4 incredible speakers who are going to share their, practical insights on, how we can build a very massive academic and research profile, how we can find ways to win very, very educating research grants, that can transform your career. And then also we are going to tap into global opportunities without necessarily, leaving your home country, how you can tap into some of these opportunities. And of course, how to make your career go far beyond the degree that you hold. So a quick note before we dive in, please keep your microphones muted when not speaking. Drop your questions in the chat. We're going to have a Q&A session towards the end. And also to all our participants, certificates of participation will be issued after the session. I'm sure each and every one of you got email across from us. So I just want to get you thinking. Remember the little radio I sent to you guys via email? Let's say, for example, somebody tells you, I can fund your dreams, without leaving in your wallet, or somebody tells you I can take you abroad without buying you a plane ticket, or you just think about somebody telling you that he or she can grow your career without giving you a degree. Now, who is that person? So this is the questions that we're going to get answered tonight before we wrap up tonight. So without further delay, let's get started. So I'm going to introduce our program's leader. I don't know if she's here. Chamaka, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Pleasure. Welcome.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our webinar this night, themed Beyond the Degree. Thank you very much, Dr. David Innocent, for the introduction, and I want to believe that everyone here is prepared, because I am. And without wasting more time, we just want to move on with our other program for today. So I don't know, our participants tonight, I just want to hear from you guys. I just need like just 2 persons, just give a little introduction of yourself and then tell us what you're expecting. I just want to know if we are, on ground in this session before we kick off. Just 2 persons, unmute your mic and then introduce yourself and then say what you expect, what you're looking to gain from this webinar.
Good evening.
Okay, you can read. Muhammad. Okay, there are gone. I can hear you.
My name is Uchechukwupraise there, and I'm expecting as a public health practitioner, I'm expected to gain more knowledge that would help me to attend to patients and attend to the public in general, wherever I find myself. So attending this webinar is a very exciting thing for me, because
All right.
I'm here to get more knowledge. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Tara.
I'm here to
Yeah,
get
you
more
can
knowledge.
mute your mic, please. Mukhtar Muhammad, yeah, please carry on.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. We
Good
can
evening,
hear
everyone.
you.
My name is Mukhtar Muhammad Saidu, and I'm a public health professional from Bauchi State. And it is a pleasure to be here. Also, my expectation on this exercise is that I will garner more experience concerning public health because there are some aspects that you cannot cover all, but due to some interaction like this, you will have a lot of experience, and also one will have access to grants and scholarship whenever a person want to advance his knowledge. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Muhammad, for that. So we're going to move forward, and I think the moment we've been waiting for is here already. So we're going to start with our first speaker for tonight, Ms. Constance Eze. She'll be taking us through the topic from first class to funded, my journey from undergraduate into graduate research, US. So Ms. Constance Eze is a graduate research assistant and master student in biological sciences at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, USA, with a first-class degree in public health and a distinction in science laboratory technology. She has worked on projects involving disease prevention, mental health, and community outreach, both locally and internationally. Her interdisciplinary background bridges science, community health, and education. At SIUE, she supports research in global health systems while actively engaging in scientific inquiry, advocacy, and outreach. Her commitment to public health stems from her deep-rooted belief in community-centered solutions and the power of knowledge exchange. In this webinar, Ms. Constance will share her unique journey across disciplines, her experiences navigating US graduate studies, and her practical insights on applying scientific research to real-world health challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our first-class graduates and researcher, Ms. Constance Eze. You may take the floor, please.
Thank you so much, Amaka. That was a wonderful introduction. I wasn't really expecting I would be the first person to speak today, but here we are. So I'll take that as a privilege. I have elders in the room. I was thinking I would be the last, but maybe we will reserve the best for the last, as they usually say. And
yeah,
that's fine. Thank you for this program. Thank you to the highly respected research gladiators, like I note them to be, Professor Mokoro, Professor Chukwacha, and my senior colleagues, Mrs. Rita, and the host, Mr. David. I'm happy to be here. Then the participants, you all are the reasons why we are here. So I am happy to be in your midst to share my story. So let's have it. You've heard a little of my biography. I have a HND in science laboratory technology from Polytechnic. Then I pivoted into getting my Bachelor of Technology in Public Health from Federal University of Technology, Owerri. So I had distinction in my HND, and I also had a first class in my Bachelor of Technology degree. So my story, let me say, I've always been an academically inclined person. So I know that I want to travel the world to get more knowledge and use it to develop my home country, which is Nigeria. So what did I do? I started preparing on time. So I started by having a solid academic background. From having a higher diploma in science laboratory technology, I needed a better platform that would launch me into more global opportunities. So that was why I chose public health. So I maintained academic excellence during my public health pursuits. So when I graduated, The next thing I did was ensuring that I get my transcripts. So when I applied for my transcript, I started researching on the opportunities that are available for me. So even while in school, I also got research experience. There is this internet group that Professor Chikocha formed for us then in Futo. So I was part of that group, and that was like an eye-opener for me. So we learned a lot from the group, and we developed some mobile application for mobile health. So that was part of what also helped my profile when I was applying for opportunities. So even while in school, I also started volunteering, because one thing with some of these US schools and agencies is that they want a well-rounded individual or a well-rounded student. They don't want you just to be academically inclined person. The only thing you know is just books. No. They also want you, outside those your books achievements, what can you offer to the society? At your free time, what can society benefit from you? So you are not just being a self-centered person. Yes, you are gaining from it personally, but you are also have a lot to share with the world and make the world a better place. So during my volunteering activities, I joined non-profit organizations. We go for community outreaches. We go for stakeholder engagements in the communities. So you will notice that I've already started my public health engagement. And that's also helped me solidify my communication skills, communicating with stakeholders in the communities, liaising with them about projects that will move the community forward. Interestingly, where I am now as a research assistant, you can't believe that that's the work I'm doing. I'm working with my supervisor. We are working hand in hand with community stakeholders. We work with community health data and then use it to make advocacy proposals for programs that will improve the community health and community well-being. So you see how things you do at your own time, not even expecting much, can help you later in life, as in towards the dream that you're working for. But then I didn't waste time in searching for information on the internet. Like, there's avalanche of information on the internet. I researched for schools. I joined groups, even social media platform, LinkedIn. I was searching for opportunities. So what I did was I made a list of all the schools that I searched for that had that I felt that the requirement that I can meet with their requirements. So I made a list of 20 schools, went to the faculty website and got the contact of the professors that have similar research interests with mine. So I started cold emailing them. So cold email is one of the game changers when you're searching for research opportunities or scholarships. So cold email simply means not waiting for the opportunity to be advertised. You approach the professor with an email explaining your interest, explaining your qualification, and how you think the work you've done aligns with your interest and with the professor's interest. So I did a lot of that. I had about 50 cold emails sent. So let me shock you. Out of those 50 cold emails, I only had 3 positive responses. So out of those 3 positive responses, 2 were to start in fall, this August 2025. Then 1 was in spring, which started January 2025. So I decided to go with the one that started earlier. So that's how I am. That's where I am currently. So now I would just tell you what worked for me. And I'm a living example of what is possible, right? About, let's say, a year ago, or even less than a year ago, I was just like you guys. Like, I was just seeking for these opportunities. So I'm sure you can very well relate with the stories I'm sharing. the endless searching for opportunities and getting rejections. We have been there. And I'm telling you that if you continue being consistent, you will also get what you are looking for. So first of all, I want to start by telling you that you should do all these processes yourself. The truth is that some people look for agents, look for people to do some of these things for them, but you need, why you do this on your own? You fail, you learn, you improve. And it will also help you, because when you seek out for this opportunity, they will not just send you money. They will interview you. They want to know you. They want to talk to you. So you need that confidence to make an impressive presentation, right? So when you do all these things by yourself, you already built that confidence. So even if after you've gotten the opportunities you applied for, you will go for visa interviews, right? So if you go there and you don't present yourself very well, you can get a visa denial. So I want to encourage you to do every process, every research seeking process yourself. Then understand the application cycle. For the US, they do mostly fall and spring semester, especially for international students. So when you understand the timeline, you choose the one you want to work with. Then you build you build your programs or activities so that it will fall within the timeline that you are looking at. Then you get your application documents ready. By now, you should have your academic CV, which will have your research interests and your relevant skills and every experiences, both paid and unpaid. Then get your transcripts, your statement of purpose, a compelling one that will tell them your story and why you are the best candidate for this position. Then your letters of recommendation. And permit me to say that you should start early to have a good relationship with your professors in wherever you are before looking for these opportunities, because you will need them and they need to know you. They cannot just recommend you based on, okay, because when you see a recommendation letter that is written by somebody that knows, it's usually different from the one that a one size fits all kind of recommendation. So create that relationship early. Then there is this standardized exam too, GRE, IELTS. Well, for most schools in the US universities, they exempt Nigerians from English proficiency test. But for GRE, some people use it to boost for those that have low GP, and not just only those that have low GP. Some schools actually request for it, but it's not compulsory. I didn't write any GRE, I didn't write any IELTS. So it depends on you and the qualifications you are coming with and where you are looking. Then application fees. There are free applications, and there are also situations that may require you to pay application fees. It's an investment, right? So I will also advise you during this period, please get busy. Get busy. You can be working so that you don't. Sometimes when you get rejections, like some people get depressed because there is no other place to channel their energy. They just build that expectations and that they must get this scholarship or this offer by so time. And if it doesn't happen that way, it becomes a problem. So get busy. If you can get something that will that sustain you for that period, I will advise that. So then also do for those that, like for some public health schools that admit through SOFAs, there's a system that's called SOFAs. They will request for your transcript evaluation. So you do a transcript evaluation. They have agencies like WEX, World Education Services, that do that. Then it's not compulsory, but you can check depending on where you're looking. Then also code mailing. Make a list of the universities that offer the courses you want. Make a list of the professors that have research interests aligned with yours. Then have their contacts ready. And once it's time, you start sending them cold emails and ensure that the time you send those emails correspond with their office time in the morning. Like during my time, when I was in Nigeria, I can send by between 2 p.m. and 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. so that it will get to them 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. in the US, depending on the country. I even downloaded a word clock so that it will be showing me the different time zones wherever I'm sending my letter. So it's that intense. Then I will advise you make multiple, be open-minded. You see that I graduated from public health, right? But I'm doing my master's in biological sciences, and I'm doing my research in public health. Do you see the connection there? So I didn't just sit down waiting for public health, but there are other public health related courses that you can still do your research in public health. I'm currently working on chronic disease epidemiology and social determinants of health. That's a core public health research interest, but I'm doing my master's in biological sciences. So you have to be as broad as you can in your research interest and in the courses you are applying for, so that you can have more opportunities. Then I will also ask you to try out like different countries. Don't just wait for only US or any particular country. Just spread out so that you can get different options available. Then try and get funding. It's not easy. Schooling abroad or research abroad is expensive, like very expensive. So try as much as you can to get funding before leaving your country to any other place for either an academic or research activity. Then also try to apply to courses that you already have background in. Believe me, I'm sure that the position I am today is because of my background, that I got this research assistantship position. Even when I did a teaching assistantship, it was because of the background. The course I taught, I assisted in teaching, was bacteriology, which I did in my undergraduate study. So try to connect your background to the program you'll be applying to. Then I will end by saying that rejection is part of the journey, right? So when you get 1, 2, 10, 20 rejection, don't let that stop you. I am assuring you, let me say like our president, I assure you, if you continue being consistent, it's just a matter of time. You will definitely get what you are looking for. So with that, I'll be ending this particular session. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Okay.
That was really very outstanding. Completely.
Thank you very much, Ma, for the insight. Let me I don't know if I should share my own story, but there was a time that I was trying to apply for all these, undergraduate schooling abroad before I entered university, and it's actually not easy though. It's not easy, and everything she said is something relatable to me in particular. But so according from what she said, just keep on applying, and then be consistent in it. So because of time, there are a few questions to make it more interactive. I would like to ask you.
Okay.
In your view, what role does research experience during undergraduate, during someone's undergraduate study play in winning scholarships or in getting all these jobs or opportunities, like starting in our undergraduate? Because this webinar is supposed to be an eye-opener, and a lot of public health undergraduates now don't even really, a lot of people that are worst courses in research, they don't like it because it's stressful and all of that. But like, let's change the view. Exactly. So what
hello, Chama, can you see there? Okay, like the truth is that you cannot escape it. In fact, having a research experience is, will I call it an unwritten requirement for you to easily get scholarships or research funding, because they want to see where you are coming from. Have you experienced this before? Do you really like research? Because research is not a child's play. There are frustrations along the way. My senior colleague will talk about her PhD research. You will understand. So they want to know, are you resilient enough? So you cannot just escape not having a research experience. Why would they choose another person that has a research experience over you that does not have a research experience? As a matter of fact, like I told you, our own research group, Interdec, which Professor Chukwacha founded, was part of, if you see my CV, is usually there. So my group developed an app, Marco HCA, a malaria and COVID-19 health communication application. And anybody that sees that will be like, wow, this is awesome. This person already knows what research is all about. So I believe all these things played a role in the position that I got. So my dear participants, stop running away from research. It will, first of all, it will help you get that position. Then secondly, when you get into that program, those skills that you have picked up during those research periods is what is going to help you and guide you during those turbulent period of your research. So that's the much I have to say. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. So moving forward, without wasting much time, I think we'd like to move on to the next speaker. I want to reserve my questions for the participants and give more ample time for the question and answer session, because that's what we are here for. So our next speaker for today is Miss Rita Ogechi. I'll be taking her bio now. And her topic is From Passion to Practice. That's something. Researching risky behaviors and finding global opportunities. Now, personally, I've really wanted to listen to Miss Rita, because this is a very unique aspect of research. A lot of people want to research on, I don't know, all these common illnesses and all, but this aspect is very unique. So Miss Rita is a public health researcher and PhD student at Purdue University, USA, where she works as a research assistant focusing on adolescent mental health and substance use. She holds an MPH and PGDE from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and earned her first degree in public health with distinction. Prior to her doctoral studies, Ms. Rita served as a lecturer at FUTO and worked closely with environmental and school health initiatives. She also engaged with community-focused programs supporting the WHO's expanded program on immunization, EPI, in 2021. She was inducted as a fellow of the African Institute of Public Health Professionals for her outstanding contributions to health education and research. Ms. Rita's passion lies in using her journey to empower others to pursue education, research, and global health equity. In this session, she will be sharing practical experiences from her academic and advocacy path from Nigeria to the US, while spotlighting grant opportunities, mentorship, and adolescent well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Rita Chukwu. Now you may have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Am I allowed to share my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We'll be able to see my talk. Okay.
I'm gonna go over. My phone was off.
Yeah, can we see my screen?
No, your screen is not showing yet. It's still you.
Yeah, at the moment we can't see your screen now.
Oh my god. Just a minute. Let me see. I don't know why it's telling me the action cannot be completed. I don't know.
Please try to share you should be able to share your screen.
On those buttons, there is these buttons down there where you see share screen.
Try.
Oh yeah. So now share screen. Yeah, I did it initially. Okay. Nope. Why? Can you see it now?
No.
No.
Maybe you can just start with what you can because of time, and be trying it in between if it now comes up.
Okay. Oh my. Okay, let me try to close multiple things so that it will just remain few. Let me see if that works.
Check if you have a multiple tabs open.
Yeah, I tried to close multiple tabs. Yeah, I don't know why.
It means you're working hard. That's good.
Well, I would have loved to share my screen, but if that does not work.
Okay.
I'm seeing other options for me to share, but I'm not seeing the PowerPoint screen I want to share. It's not coming up.
Okay, I think it might be from your end, maybe the way you're trying to put it. But if you can share entire screen, if there's an option of entire screen, definitely you should share.
Yeah, I can see it share entire screen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But if I click on share, it's not allowing me to. I don't know why. Let's see. Does it work now?
Yes.
Can you check it? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
very
can see.
clear.
Yes, I can see.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, all right, thank God. All right, okay. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you're listening from. My name is Rita Chukwu. An introduction has already been made. These are my agenda. I will be speaking on three core themes: practical strategy for building a competitive academic profile, how to secure graduate research opportunities, and for me, demystifying the application process for a fully funded graduate program abroad. Okay, I'll start by this way. I would have loved to start by sharing my story, but I'll leave it for the next slide. So for now, we'll start by saying core tips for building a competitive academic and research profile. For me, The very first thing I did when I graduated was to ask myself, what aspect of public health do I enjoy more than the others? I know we have epidemiology, disease control. Some schools have it different. Some schools have it merged together. We have environmental health and safety. We have health education and promotion. So I was asking myself, which aspect do I enjoy? I couldn't answer that question. So I wouldn't want you to dwell in this part. First of all, I would love you to clarify your academic and research interests early. It affected me. Okay? And it made me to choose the wrong mentors. Not necessarily choosing the wrong mentors, but I chose mentors that gave me advice or that pushed me to the aspect of public health that I didn't enjoy. Okay, so for the aspect of this webinar, I would love you to the second thing for you to do will be to choose the right mentors and networks. You can get this through your university. Your mentors can be your professors, as your lecturers. You can get mentors through conferences. You can get mentors through professional associations. Pay to join these associations. It will help you. Okay, the next thing for building a competitive academic and research profile will be, just like the first speaker said, that you cannot run away from research. So research here means building research skills, especially the quantitative or the analytic research skills. We have several softwares. For people in public health, we deal with data a lot. So you can't run away from core analytical skills, softwares like XPSS, Data R, NVivo for qualitative research, Python, and lots more. Okay, then try to master research designs. We have the qualitative, we have the quantitative. We also have the mixed method where you can combine the qualitative and the quantitative methods together. Okay, as young professionals or as students, it won't be easy because you've not developed strong research skill and experience. You should try to co-author, try to volunteer in research labs owned by professors in your various universities. Okay, by doing that, if they find you to be confident and if they find you to have good presentation skills, they can sponsor you to go to present at conferences and it will build your profile. Okay, another thing I'll also advise you to pursue academic certifications. Academic certifications can be simple certifications on various aspects of health. It can be HIV, it can be adolescent health, it can be Ebola, it can be anything. Most of those certifications are free. You know, I was privileged to get most of them free of charge without paying anything. We have open WHO website where you can, learn, write tests, and get all those certifications. It will build your research profile. Okay, the next one will be building a research CV. The first speaker also said something on this. There are numerous CV formats online. So don't say, I have a CV. Please, I would love you to follow mentors online. There are several people that have graduated, professors that are online. Follow them on LinkedIn to know how to develop a strong research CV. What my supervisor here will always tell me, she will say, Rita, anything you don't document, just know that it was never done. So I would advise you to document all your achievements, no matter how small. It affected me. Most of the little things I did growing up while I was in university, when I was doing my MPH, most of the volunteering activities that I indulged in, I never documented any. So when I say them orally, nobody believed me. And also when you publish research, utilize research platforms like ResearchGate, Google Scholar, and other platforms to document your research so that anybody that types your name will see everything that you've published. I also advise that you seek leadership opportunities. Even in student organization, being the PRO, being the treasurer, being the vice president or the president in any role, as little as it is, it will help you build a strong academic and research profile. Okay. Also try to improve your writing and communication skills. It's not easy because English is not our first language, so it's not easy for us. So I will advise us to take courses online, join workshops on scientific writing. It will indeed help build your communication skill. Okay. Lastly, you stay organized. Set monthly, weekly, or daily goals and try to achieve all of them. Okay. The next agenda for me will be navigating graduate research opportunities abroad. That is finding research opportunities anyway. There are lots of ways you can use to get funded research opportunities. There are university-based research centers and labs. That was how I came to the US. Okay, I came to the US because I emailed a particular professor who accepted to fund me and who accepted to supervise my research. But that is not the only way to get research opportunities. You can get it from international organizations for health. We have the NIH. NIH is the National Institute of Health. We have the CDC. We are used to this. We have WHO internships. There are lots of them on different health topics. We have the Fulbright Fellowship, which one of our eminent professor is a fellow. We have the DAG, owned by German government. We have the MasterCard, awarded by the Canadian government. Yes, I think. We have the Commonwealth and Commonwealth shared by the UK government. We have other related public health organizations. There are also travel grants, conference travel grants. For those that are not interested in schooling, those that don't want to maybe do an MSc or MPH or PhD, you can utilize travel grants. Various health associations can award you travel grants for you to come from different countries to present your findings. So it's a very wonderful opportunity. I know everybody in this space is not a public health person, so I'm talking specifically for public health participants here. So target PhD programs if you want to get funded research programs in the US. Target PhD because MPH is a professional program. You don't do research. It's purely professional. You go for practicum. That's what we call it in Nigeria. So here we call it internship. Okay, because it's a professional program. It doesn't come with funding. So if you want to do MPH in the US, get ready to fund yourself. But there are numerous funded MSc programs in other departments. There are also funded MSc program in public health, but it is very limited. So I always advise my friends, please don't shy away from doing MPH. If you have an opportunity, do the MPH so that it will help you to get a PhD. Some schools like Purdue University, MPH is not a requirement for getting a PhD, but it's not an open requirement, but it's a hidden requirement. They will rarely take you if you don't have an MPH. So even if it's not stated there that you can get it straight from your undergrad, for those interested in public health and PhD public health programs, I will advise you to obtain an MPH first. Okay. In this space, I will want to share my story, sort of a general overview of my research in Purdue. Okay, I am interested in adolescents and young adults. Adolescents, sort of those that are in high school, those are in secondary school, but young adults, those that are in sort of those that are entering university. Yeah, we call them emerging adults. Okay, why am I interested in this population? I am interested in this population because adolescence as a stage is a critical developmental stage, very stressful period, but people don't know. And adolescents are always, most of the times, neglected because people feel they are strong, they don't have health needs, they are not sick, they are a healthy population. Most public health research are channeled towards under 5, pregnant women, disabled population, the elderly, okay, and neglecting adolescents. But adolescence is a critical developmental stage. Why? It is marked by the sort of notion, desire to be independent, that desire to explore the world, desire to identify oneself. They don't want control from their parents, they don't want control from their teachers, they don't want control from their peers. They want to be left alone to explore. They are angry that in the family, people parents, try to control them and all that. So this period, they want to be left alone. So that's why it's critical. Because as they try to explore the word, okay, these attributes put them at risk of indulging in problem behaviors. We call them risky behaviors. There are lots of them, such as substance use, such as risky driving, sort of unsafe sexual practices, violence, fighting, poor eating, that can lead them into developing poor mental health problems that can currently affect them as adolescents. And also this problem can lead into, poor well-being in adulthood. I'm not just interested in adolescents generally. My research is targeted among US adolescents, but I'm interested in adolescents from minority populations. What do I mean by that? Minority populations refers to those that are discriminated, those that face racism, those that are stressed, those that are poor, those that face lots of the social determinants of health that we know today. They live in dangerous neighborhoods. Most of them don't even have parents. Most of them are undocumented immigrants. They are not citizens, so they don't have equal rights compared to their white counterparts. Okay, so and most importantly, this group are lured into taking substances because tobacco producing companies target this group. Okay, so they catch them young as early as possible. So this early initiation leads these adolescents to developing negative health outcomes. Okay, start of nicotine addiction that can stay and lead to adulthood. Okay, it can lead to various health outcomes like respiratory disorders, cardiovascular problems, metabolic disorders, and what have you. So this necessitates the need to prevent substance use among this important group. So what is my research question? What am I doing with adolescents in minority population? My research question is this. I want to examine how parental monitoring predict patterns of poly substance use among adolescents from minority groups, especially when mental health is compromised. I will explain. What do I mean by poly substance use? Poly substance use means using multiple substances. Most adolescents here use cannabis, they use marijuana, they use alcohol, they use tobacco, and lots more. So I'm interested in seeing how parents can play a role. Their role can be positive, it can also be negative. Okay, I want to know how parenting practices. We have the authoritarian and we have the authoritative. The authoritarian, I mean, parents that are firm but warm, those that balances discipline with responsiveness, those that have two-way communication with their children. Unlike the second type of parenting known as authoritative, which implies strict, controlling, those that demand obedience without question. You must obey. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. In terms of parental monitoring, I am interested in both parental religiosity, parental connectedness, everything about parenting, the role it plays in either preventing substance use or promoting substance use. Okay, I will tell you a little story concerning how I got my PhD program here, how I got my funded program. My MPH program wasn't on substance use. My MPH program in FUTO wasn't on adolescents. My MPH program was mostly on environmental health and safety. So when I reached out to my supervisor via cold email, before I did that, I read about her research. I saw that she's interested in adolescents and young adults. She's interested in risk behaviors, and it has always been a research interest in my mind. But I asked myself, am I qualified? How will I convince her? Because I've not published anything related to adolescents. I've not done any critical roles related to adolescents, even risk behaviors, but I have it in my mind. How will I be able to convince her? So when I reached out to her via mail, told her all the things, presented my strengths, okay, and hid my weaknesses. Okay, she responded after 3 days. She said, "Hi, Rita, wonderful profile. May I meet you in 3 days? Will that work for you?" I said, "Sure." that worked for me. So during the interview, she said, I've read so many things about you. You are a very good student, but the problem is, what do you think that brought us together? I'm sorry, how do you think you can survive in my lab? What can you do for my lab to help my lab grow? Because I've seen that, yes, you've had publications, but none is in adolescence, none is in risk behavior. So I answered that question. I smiled. I was expecting that question. So I answered. And prior to that, I read about her, and I read about her research on parental practices and how it buffers or how it prevents risk behaviors among adolescents. So I told her the story about growing up, that I grew up in a family that utilizes authoritarian form of parenting, that I'm someone that is very stubborn, but because of the way my parents raised me, they communicated with love, told me the things that I should avoid and the reasons for avoiding them. So the kind of parents I had helped me to survive adolescence. It helped me to avoid all those risk behaviors, okay? From maybe risky driving, risky sexual behaviors, and what have you. So I used my growing up period to tell her how I am the perfect fit for her lab. She said that is excellent, that she had such publications and she has research in mind, even those that she hasn't written in her profile, that those that are in her mind, that she feels that I will survive and I will bring a very important area or whatever regarding to parenting in her lab. Okay, so this is like just an eye opener. Don't think that when you don't have certain qualifications, don't limit yourself or think that you can get that from the PhD. You can always use your story. Okay. The next part of my presentation will be giving insights into applying for fully funded graduate programs abroad. Okay, I always say my story, my success. I don't need to repeat the story. I've told you a bit about my story. So I will start by telling you to dedicate. This is what I did. Dedicate 1 year to understanding the application process and improving your profile. Okay, don't say, Mrs. Rita is in the US. She's my mate, and no, I need to apply as quickly as I can to also get that opportunity. Don't just try your luck in a hurry. Most of these applications, you pay for them, so don't waste your money. And converting naira to dollar, you know what that means. So I will advise you to calm down, dedicate at least 1 year to understanding the application process and also to improving your profile. Okay, then followed by telling yourself that this process is not as hard as people present it. Demystify the application process in your mind first. The process is very easy if you believe it. And just like the first speaker said, she said, do it yourself, do not use agents. Agents are just there to use your money, honestly. How can an agent write SOP for you? Do you know what SOP means? Statement of purpose, personal statement about your life, about yourself. And you're telling another person to write a story about yourself. It does not make sense. Nobody knows you more than you know yourself. So the best thing is for you to sit down, look for samples online. You can reach out to friends to also share their samples, okay, so that you can learn how to do it step by step. Okay, getting into funded programs is a product of a complete student. The first speaker said something like this: you have to be excellent in teaching, you have to be excellent in research and practice. You can imagine, for me, if I've never taught in my life before, or I don't have any research experience, or I've not maybe volunteered or whatever in terms of public health practice, even if I made mistake to get the funded PhD program here, I can't survive. Maybe by now I should have maybe disappeared from the program, because you can't survive if you don't have that experience in teaching, research and practice. The very first time I stepped in my feet in the US, yes, I was given an assistantship. It was written assistantship, but I don't know the type of assistantship. So when I came in, the HOD said, you will be given dual role. Part role will be teaching and part will be research. Some persons has complete teaching or complete research, but they said they're going to share my own. So I was like, I'm going to teach in the US. Yes, I know I've been teaching, but I think it's different. But because I have that skill, maybe that boldness, I wasn't shaking. So you can imagine if you've never taught in your life. You can be teaching your siblings. It can be teaching anywhere. It can be in secondary school, even if they are paying you 20,000. You can just teach for few months just to have that experience, that boldness. That skill is a skill. It's not something you just develop on your own. So I would encourage you to, do little things regarding to teaching, then gain research experience. The first teacher spoke well on this, that the program Professor Chukwuta, attracted into photo helped her, So you can do this, you can volunteer. Forget about money for now, especially with regards to research experience. You are even supposed to pay that faculty member for allowing you to learn, under him or her. So forget about money, volunteer to gain research experience. Research experience can be learning all those analytical skills. It can be learning how to do a literature review, learning how to do systematic review, learning how to, analyze, clean data, how to write a manuscript, publish, how to present. There are lots of things you can gain research-wise. Okay, then in terms of public health practice, you can volunteer, for all these simple health organizations. Even if they are not paying you, just volunteer. It will help you, to build your CV. Okay, because when you come in here, let's assume you land into a fully funded scholarship and they tell you to come and teach. Even if they don't tell you to come and teach, they can tell you, okay, hey, you will grade. And they would give you something to grade. Whites are very smart. Why students don't take rubbish? You can't fail them for any reason. For no reason, sorry. And you can't even pass them for no reason. You have to justify why they had 5 over 5 or why they got 0 over 5. So you have to know what you're doing. Then your overall experience and your achievements will enable you to land into that fully funded scholarship. Getting a first class is not an automatic thing that will make US to say, hey, we are going to give you this. It's not true. You have to be an all-rounder student, just like FUTA will graduate you in character and in learning. So they will certify you all around. Do you have publications? Okay, even if you don't have publication, do you have those research skills and research experience? Have you presented before? What's your relationship with your colleagues, with your lecturers? Are you rude? You can be a smart student, you can be a first class student, but you are a very rude person, and your supervisors write that you are a rude person. No sane faculty member will accept you. So you have to be a complete student. Okay, the next thing will be identifying the right PhD program. Sorry, I keep using PhD program. It can be any graduate program, whether MPH or MC. Okay, I'll always repeat this, that you should define your research interest, your long-term goal, and search online. What do I mean by this? When you are defining your research interest, I will encourage you, please be open. The research area can be like a building. Your research interest can be like a room. The room is big enough. It's not just one thing. I told myself that I'm interested in adolescents and young adults. I told myself that I'm interested in any risky behavior at all. So when I reached out to my supervisor, I said, I'm interested in substance use, but if there are other research activities in your lab that is related to this area, I am open. When I was looking for a faculty member, okay, that was what all the cold emails I wrote. I don't joke with this particular paragraph. Always be open to other research activities in the lab. That's my advice. As the one that maybe matters most to you might limit you. Maybe the faculty members already have students or they don't have funding for that particular research interest. So if you can shift a little bit, it will help you. Okay, this is my story. Then the first speaker also said this, that we should spread our applications. When I was applying, I applied to Canada, I applied to US. Okay, I started my application to New Zealand, but I didn't complete it. So luckily, I got admission in US. Okay. And for those in public health, I would advise you to look into ASPPH. It's called Association of Schools and Programs of Public Health. This body, they are the one that accredits all schools and colleges, that offer public health program in US. So from time to time, they organize conferences, they organize webinars for students, faculty, and professionals. And they also offer support for the platform that the first speaker mentioned, So Fast. This is a very important platform. I tell you from my experience that More than 90% of schools in US utilizes this platform for the application purposes. It's just very few of them that you can apply directly, to get admission. And if you must use SOFAS, it means that you must evaluate your transcripts. So you should use WES for that. So I imputed the link for SOFAS and also the link for the ASPPH. Okay. The next thing will be, how do you prepare academically and professionally? The first speaker mentioned standardized tests. I will encourage you, if you have the money, write GRE. People say it's hard. It's not true. Always demystify any information you hear. Don't say it's hard. Even if the school does not require it, most schools will say GRE is optional. If GRE is optional and you are a first-class graduate and I am a first-class graduate with research experience, likewise you, and we are applying for a particular program and I have GRE, they can't pick you over me. Any additional qualification you have will give you extra points and will disqualify the other person. It's not as if the other person is not a strong candidate, but he or she couldn't make it. So I'll start by advising you to maintain a strong academic record. For the undergraduate in the house, please don't joke with that stage. Don't joke with it. Try to maintain a very strong CGPA. Everybody mustn't make a first class, even if it's a very high 2.1, even if it's a very high 2.2. Okay, what you will do is when you graduate, try to gain research experience, try to get extra certification, try to volunteer. For myself, I volunteered a lot for WHO and gained a lot of, public health experience from them. Okay, there are other little health organizations that you can volunteer, to add to your strong CGPA, even if you're a first class graduate. You can imagine that Life of Constance, that graduated with first class, also did that. So what is stopping you? The next thing is try to get research experience. I won't talk much. We've heard about this a lot. Then writing a strong personal statement. I will always advise you, please don't use a general statement. Most people will send me their statement for review. They'll say, Mrs. Rita, please, do you have time? Kindly review. I'm going to send you 3 different SOP for 3 different universities. Please review. When I go through it, they will just caption it. This is SOP, by this for Purdue, SOP for Harvard, SOP for maybe Kent State University. The same thing. I don't understand. What kind of laziness is this? And you think faculty members are foolish. They will just know that you're very lazy students and nobody wants such students in his or her lab. Please always tailor your application, your SOP to any school of your choice. Okay, get a relevant teaching. I've said this before, is a plus. Volunteer if you can. Please, when we say get field experience, get work experience, POS is not a job. POS will not give you experience. And maybe if you are in marketing or whatever business, maybe it will count. It can't count in public health as somebody that owns or does POS. Please, I will advise that. I know we are looking for money plus, but we have to be strategic in the kind of things we do. Okay. Okay. Yeah. The next would be crafting a competitive application. I've stated something on statement of purpose before, but here my interest is for you to highlight your journey. Your research goal, why you're interested in the program, why you're interested in the school. Even if your research interest is in substance use, Harvard is doing substance use. Kansas State University is doing substance use. So why are you choosing Purdue? Or why are you choosing this particular institution? You have to tell them. Maybe it's because of a particular faculty that is doing this that attracted you, and you feel you guys share, related things in common. In your statement of purpose, I will always advise people to showcase their strengths. Then if you have any weakness, let's assume that you didn't graduate with a very strong CGPA. Always try to defend your weakness. Defend it smartly. I read an SOP. The guy said, in my 3rd year, I didn't have a strong CGPA because I lost my parents. It affected my mental health, and I tried to balance it up in my 4th year. And if you see the flow of his transcript, he didn't lie. So it's a smart way of, balancing your weakness. And he also defended by saying, as you can see in my master's, I graduated with a first class. I graduated with a very high CGPA. Then another thing I'll always tell you, please don't rush to submit your SOP. Try to seek reviewers and do it early. Not please, Mrs. Rita, please review my SOP. It's 2 weeks. In fact, it's 1 week to deadline. We are all busy here doing research. Please consider us. All right. While writing your academic CV or resume, try to be concise and well organized. The game changer is powerful letters of recommendation. People see this as a very simple thing, but my dear, this recommendation letter carry power more than your SOP if you don't know. SOP is a statement you wrote for yourself. You can lie, another person can write for you. You can pay, you can use ChatGPT to write it, paraphrase and all whatnot. But recommendation letters are what another person, professor, a respected person, in the society is writing for you. So you can imagine if you don't build that good relationship, you might be running helter-skelter. Nobody will write for you. Someone emailed me and said, please, can you write recommendation letter for me? I said, meet your course advisor now, meet HOD and other lecturers. I'm not in Futo now. I cannot write recommendation letter for you. She said, it's only one person that I know, and the person is late now. It's Professor Banobi. Others, I don't know them. Is this not an unfortunate statement? Please, while in school, build good relationships with your lecturers. They are there to help you, okay? Please, and while writing letters of recommendation, always politely tell the recommender, maybe can I provide a sample? Some of them might use to whom it may concern. Please, faculty members, those that are in admission committees, they don't like this. Okay, the next thing will be finding and contacting potential supervisors. This is the key, in fact. In my school, Purdue University, for you to gain a PhD, a funded PhD in public health, you must have contacted a potential supervisor, and he or she must have agreed to supervise you before they can give you admission. Even if you are the best, you scored 100 over 100, and they didn't see anybody that picked interest in supervising you, you will be left out, okay? And before you contact them, read about their publication and current projects, not maybe 10 years projects, current project, because that's the one that had funding, okay? Try to read about them. If they have research sites, you can read about their research sites. If they have current students, you can get their email, reach out to them. At least students are less busy compared to faculty members. So, and they want new people to join them. So they'll give you useful information, maybe how best to reach out to this person, the best time to reach out to this person, and all that. And the best maybe research area where they have more funding, where they feel that once you tell the faculty, he or she will accept you. So don't joke with current students if the supervisor has. Okay, send personalized emails. Okay, the first speaker have spoken this. Always try to show a good fit, okay, what you intend to bring to the lab. For some schools, especially most schools in Canada, while emailing the professor, they will tell you attach a short CV, a smart CV, that's what most of them call it, and a short summary of your research idea. Don't just write anything. Reach out to people to give you formats so that, you write meaningfully well, okay? While writing, be respectful. While emailing them, be respectful, concise, don't write too many things, be strategic, timely. The first speaker spoke this. Professionally, no jargons. Please don't use all these short words we use in WhatsApp and all those platforms. No grammatical errors. There are AI tools like Cribos that can help, check your grammar. There is Grammarly, because English is not our first language, okay? Always look for samples. Your email is you in person. It tells who you are, okay? Wild code emailing, don't say, don't use Mr. and Mrs. Use dear professor or whatever the name is, okay? One question I have for you, that is participants in this space, is what is your email address? It's very funny. Someone reached out to me, I asked, what is your email address? She said, I've been cold emailing professors. I've sent over 50 emails and none responded. I said, really? What is your email address? She said, quintopsy@gmail.com. I said, really? Quintopsy, is that your name? What is your real name? She stated her real name. I said, I don't understand. Your email address should at least, tell us your name. The next thing you should is to activate a LinkedIn profile. Most of my colleagues here got their supervisors through LinkedIn. from time to time, supervisors, especially new faculties that just got work, will use their LinkedIn profile to advertise for their positions. You know, I am new in this university. I am reaching out to students, interested PhD students or MSc students should reach out to me. Most of them landed into fully funded PhD and master's programs through this. Always build this relationship before you apply. Just like the first speaker said, that was the game changer for me. I contacted my advisor, reached out to her, convinced her. She agreed to supervise me even before I thought of applying. So when I applied, part of what I wrote in my SOP is that I'm interested in the research area of Professor XYZ in the Department of Public Health. I have emailed her and she agreed to supervise me. So you can imagine, any faculty member that sees that, or the admission committee that sees that, will be like, oh, this person is in already since she has seen someone that will supervise her. Okay. Funding and scholarships. There are different types of funding: research assistants, teaching assistant, fellowship, external grants. Okay. It depends on which one. So you have to try to do more research so as to know how to apply. For some funding, you don't need a separate application. Just like Purdue University, once you're applying for admission, if you are given admission for their PhD, automatically it's going to come with funding. If they are not going to give you funding, they won't even admit you in the first place. So, but some schools are not like that. I also applied to Kent State University. Theirs is different. You apply for admission differently. You also apply for funding differently. So it depends. Also other funding applications like DAD, the one that from Germany, Commonwealth, Fulbright, you need to apply for the university and also apply to them differently. So it depends. Please resist the urge to say, send me link. It's a very annoying question. If you tell me to send you link, I might just send you link to Purdue University alone. And is that the only university you're going to apply to? The links are online. The one I told you, the Association of Schools of Public Health, if you attend their webinars, from time to time, they will arrange webinars, get professors from different universities to come and advertise their program. Even most people will advertise open funded research interest areas. So it's an opportunity. You have the opportunity to even immediately chat to the professor that I'm from Nigeria, I have MPH, I have BSc in public health, I'm interested in so. Most people also got funding from there. Okay, so then follow scholarship recipients on Twitter, follow them on other platforms, learn from them without even meeting them, without even asking them questions. They do drop posts on how to be successful in these things. So follow them. Don't pay them to do these things for you. They'll eat your money and nothing will come out of it. Okay, application timeline. The first speaker also said this: start early, understand all the program requirements, keep track of deadline, apply to multiple programs. I know we don't have money converting naira to dollar, but if you are strategic and if you start on time, if you attend all these webinars, some of them will say, if you attended our webinar, we will email you a particular code, and that code you use it to apply for our graduate program free of charge. Some programs like University of Alabama, they have a particular week, they target it free application week. So if you've completed all your application, gotten all the requirements, you can submit your application in that week and it will be free of charge for you. A good number of schools, like I applied to a school, Case Western Reserve University. I emailed the program coordinator and told them that I am from a low-income country. It's not easy for me. Then we were on strike. I said, I'm not being paid. I am very much interested in your program, but I don't have the money. Immediately, she sent me a code that it has been waived for me, that because of my condition, that please, that they don't want funding to limit me in applying. So I applied to about 3 schools free of charge. Okay, so reach out to these graduate coordinators. Aside from giving you waivers, these people know a lot. They know even professors that have funding. They're looking for students. If you are polite, you can get information from these people. Then the main thing, the interview and the communication and the oral communication. My dear, get ready for this. You can write a compelling SOP. You can pay someone to write for you, but you can't pay someone to sit and meet the faculty member one-on-one. Because, once they approve you, you will certainly come to the US and they will see you in person. So how can an agent sit for your interview? It's not possible. So, during the interview, be prepared. This is if you've convinced them in your SOP and you mess up in your interview, they can't. They won't tell you anything. They'll say, okay, you're a good student and just wait for the admission committee to, give you decision. All right. But in their mind, they are off. They are not going to take you. So be ready to explain that push, that motivation, to tell them your research background and your future goals. Practice questions, okay? We call it research before you meet. Not when they say, do you have anything, Rita? Do you have anything to say? Say, no, I don't have. They'll be like, this is a very timid person. No. I can't accept such students in my lab. Be bold. A researcher is bold. Research means you're finding solutions to a problem. So always ask questions, okay? Very thoughtful ones. By doing that, you're showcasing your communication skills, your curiosity, and all that. Okay. Then, above all, is the God factor. He can cover your errors and expose your strengths. He did it for me, so he can also do it for you. Generally, life abroad as a graduate student in US is not easy. The culture is different, food, language, the weather, it's not easy balancing research, coursework, and life. For me, I am a mom, I am a wife, I am a daughter, sister to people, in-laws, I have friends and competitors. So it is not easy, and you can't neglect people now before they will be like, you've traveled and you don't want to talk to us any longer. So it is not easy. Academic expectation from your supervisor. Wow, I am paying you and you are not, maybe responding, I don't know, you're not helping my lab to grow. The funding might stop. It can stop. Funding is not like it is an everlasting thing. If you are not responding to the publications, being independent, if you are not the type that can work under pressure, I'm telling you, your funding can be seized and you will be stranded and you can be deported because it means that you are illegal. Okay, so graduate school will test your patience, but my advice is don't give up because there is life at the end of it. Okay. Above also learn skills. If you don't know how to drive, please learn. Go and pay. You mustn't have a car to learn how to drive. It's very important. It will help you. In Indiana, where I stay, we have buses that come, but there are some cities that don't have bus. So if you are using Uber as a student, how much do you think you are being paid that you'll be using Uber to be going to school from time to time? My dear, it will stress you. Getting a car here is not easy. It's not hard, but if you don't know how to drive, who will do that for you? Learn how to cook, bake, make hair, sew. Learn how to do most of those things. It will help you. I have a friend that applied for a work and they told her that she's qualified and they asked her, do you have a car and can you drive? She said no and she was disqualified. So I advise you to have some of those skills before coming here. So these are the final tips and takeaway before I leave us. The final tips, number one is anything that is not documented is not done. Document no matter how small it is. It can be email, it can be award, it can be certificate, it can be recommendation letter, whatever. Don't be quick to submit. Always revise, and revise. Seek review before you submit. Don't submit generic applications, please. It's a no-go area. Be open to other research interests in your area. Don't be too streamlined. No experience is a waste. Be strategic. Experience is not POS business. Learn to turn your experience into a compelling story. Link them up. If you might have a compelling story, but if you don't link them up, if it's not statistic, it wouldn't make sense. They wouldn't even listen to you. So always tell how your experience and qualification make you the perfect fit for the position. Do not be too big to ask questions or be mentored, Stay persistent despite rejections. Believe in your story and your ability. And above all, God will be there for you, for anyone that diligently seek Him. Thank you so much for your kind audience.
Wow. Thank you very much, Ma, for this wonderful insights that you've given to us. Persistent, be open, keep on pushing, be strategic as well. And then, follow who no road, have mentorship. That's very important. So without wasting much time again, I want to have more time for the question and answer session. So I'll be moving on to the next speaker for tonight, which is no other person than Professor JC Okoro. Topic: building a research pathway in NCDs, research trends and opportunities in non-communicable diseases. So Professor JC Okoro is a seasoned academic and public health researcher in the Department of Public Health, the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Futo. With decades of teaching, research, and international engagement, he brings a rich blend of academic rigor and practical expertise in non-communicable diseases, especially type 2 diabetes. His work has been instrumental in bridging traditional and biomedical approaches to healthcare, an effort that has significantly shaped diabetes prevention and management strategies in Nigeria. Professor Okoro's field work focuses on integrated health education, culturally tailored interventions, and sustainable behavioral change strategies designed to reduce the burden of diabetes across communities. Beyond his research, he has contributed to enriching the Futo public health curriculum by embedding regional relevance and global perspectives, mentoring students, and championing evidence-based public health. In this webinar that is ongoing, Professor Okoro will share insights from his research and field experiences, offering practical guidance on culturally appropriate health programming and advancing NCD research in Africa. So, our dear participants, please let's welcome Professor JC Okoro. Sir, you may have the floor.
Authority, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, everybody. I am happy to also thank my students, Constance and Rita. Good to hear you speak very eloquently.
Thank you, sir.
In different areas, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I'm so happy. So, and the rest of them who are out there listening and watching, it means that it's possible. It doesn't matter what anybody says, it's possible. And at any point in time, you have to think beyond the shores of Nigeria, beyond the borders of Africa, because that's the only way you can advance from where you are to another one. I'm going to be talking about what the convener just said. First of all, it's important for us to understand that public health is a dynamic field that extends far beyond academic qualifications. It encompasses research innovations, grant funding, and global opportunities that empower professionals to address disparities, equity, and improve population health. Somebody stop.
Mavi Fund.
Continue. He has been removed. He has been removed.
Beyond talking about only diabetes, our interest now is on non-communicable diseases, which obviously is also trending. It's important to understand the health determinants, identifying trends, which obviously Rita and Constance have been talking about, and developing interventions to mitigate crises and promote equity. There are several areas, one has to look at. When you are looking at research areas, you talk about the health systems and services. So these health systems and services is research aimed at adapting health systems to demographic changes, disease burdens, and advances in biomedical technology. Rita is dwelling on mental health because, where we are, our interest is on health promotion, disease control and prevention, and environmental health. But also, mental health is another area, an emerging area in public health. Okay, so in fact, in 2020, was it 2020? Horizon spent about £543 million in Europe to fund, mental problem research or researches. So it's a good area. Anybody who is also thinking about doing it in public health should look into. You should also think about global health. That's research targeting maternal and child health, infectious diseases, and lifestyle-related conditions in low and middle-income countries. Dwelling on research is like qualitative and quantitative and all mixed methods, to analyze your data and case control studies. So these are some areas while you are there, all these areas, they are broad, but when you go into them, think about them, now you can now streamline them to the particular area you want. And now you can start thinking about grant opportunities. The grant opportunities, they are numerous, but a lot of us, we don't, especially those of us from the Southeast, we're not interested somehow. It's only nowadays that people are having interest, trying to try their hands on different areas. When you come overseas, two of you, as you can see, all these research opportunities and scholarships, they are hijacked by Yoruba people. They are the ones that are into these things. And then some of our Hausa brothers and sisters, they are met at the comfort of their own homes, and they are given this. So while you are in Nigeria, you can tap into the National Institute of Health and CDC. I've mentioned all this area. Some of you might not understand that these areas are, still viable for one to look into for scholarships and grants. If you are talking about infectious diseases, chronic conditions, and health disparities, if you go to NIH and CDC, you will also get something tangible from them. The EU Horizon 2020, they prioritize health systems, mental health, and maternal health. It's also a very good area to explore. There are some non-profit organizations and foundations. Some of them, like the Melinda Gates, like the Robert Wood Johnson Foundations. They are wonderful areas, depending on what you want. But then there's always, like Rita elaborately stated, you must be convinced when you're writing your statement of purpose. You have to convince them. The scholarships are there. I know of a couple of some people who have met me. I don't want to start mentioning their names. There are some of my students also who wanted to study overseas. I think the first assignment I gave them was search for 15 to 20 public universities in the US. I'm not talking about private, public universities. Now you continue to narrow your search. Look at the department you want to apply for scholarship. Check the scholarship availabilities in that department and elsewhere. So when you do that, then you write a very strong letter. Copy the emails of different areas you want to send that email. Maybe it's only one letter. You don't need to start rewriting. You send it to 15 to 20 universities, public universities, and now you wait. So I think it was Rita Constance who mentioned that she got 3. She had 3 reply from them. So these are some of the things I expect some of us to be doing. But the unfortunate thing is that most of us are lazy. Sorry to use that word. We are lazy to even explore. We're easy to do anything for ourselves. Like Rita was mentioning, how can I ask somebody to write a statement of purpose? What would the person be saying? The person can, write it probably sounds good, but what if when you face the panel and they'll be asking you questions, how do you want to carry out this research? What do you want to do next? And now you'll be looking up and down, So there are corporate contributions, organizations like the Amgen and Northrop Grumman. They provide scholarships for humanitarian and social programs. So public health professionals can also engage in international initiatives through fellowships, job and collaborative projects. Programs like the WHO Fellowship and Global Health Cause Fellowship offer, immersive experiences in global health. There are international carers opportunities with UN agencies. Okay, you have heard about it, UN agencies. You have heard about Doctors Without Borders and partnership in health. They allow professionals to work in diverse regions. And this presentation Rita gave us, I heard when she mentioned that she did a lot of volunteering work with WHO. I know that some of you might be wondering, how could that be? And maybe when she was doing it, she was spending her money. Probably nobody paid her, but it paid off at the end of it all. So there is need for those of you who are listening tonight to also ask yourself more questions. Fall back. I have 3 or 4 students from Department of Public Health. I wrote their recommendations. They are in Canada, different provinces in Canada. And these are some of our students. I have some in Washington. And these 2 now, Rita is in Arizona, Indiana, sorry. So, these are people who have somehow, how would I say it? They have conquered. They are talking fluently and eloquently. They are telling you that anything is possible. Where there is a will, there is a way. And if you continue to downsize it, if you continue to believe, can I do it? What will my experience do there? What will this happen? Rita, I remember the time you met me, you said, I would like to be flying the way you're going now. I told you, yes, don't worry, you will make it. Here you are. And now you're telling them. Anybody who knows me in photo, knows that it has been my style anyway. I'm not here to tell you. Most of you know me, and some of you may say, I can't remember you very well. It's not because I'm not there, I'm still there, and I'm still lecturing. But because of my own doings, both here and there, I continue to balance the 2. So life, you have to work smart. You have to also tell yourself, I want to do something that will benefit me and benefit my, not only your future generation, your present generation. And it is now that you have the time to really explore. If you try one time and you don't succeed, it doesn't mean that you don't know anything. That's not what it means. You have probably learned your lessons. Now you can give another try. You can now, see how you're going to make it better the next time. So nowadays there are so many things we are doing, like when it comes to research trends in non-communicable diseases. We have like something like precision medicine and genomics. The trend now is leveraging on genetics, epigenetic, molecular data to personalize diagnosis and treatment. If you understand what this means, you will know how to also package yourself. A lot of people who did molecular biology, they tend to understand these areas better than some of you in public health. And I think it's also, I was even thinking that day, I think I should suggest to the department if they can include the course in molecular biology, so that you understand what is going on now. You know, digital health and AI is also being used to improve diagnosis and treatment. So these are some of the things we need to, areas we need to explore. We need to explore it. AI-driven ECG interpretation, they are there. You know, it depends on what you think about yourself, what you want to achieve. Some of you, you're not only going to social media, into TikTok or Instagram to do other stuff. A lot of you also have advanced beyond that level, and you are learning different things. Like you mentioned, Professor Chubocha, who developed something on malaria, which is also a wonderful thing. Now there are things like wearables, like especially people with diabetes, to wearables like mobile apps for glucose monitoring. You have the continuous glucose monitoring, which is still, ongoing. These are areas they expect people with, who are in public health to do, maybe in collaboration with people who are in other biomedical engineering or stuff like that. You see, this public health is a very broad course. It's only when you understand what it means. Unfortunately, some of you, when you are in school, you still think, or rather you thought that being a public health graduate, you can work in hospital as nurses or as a doctor's assistant. No. People can tell them better now that is not, probably you had the same, what is it called, thought when you were around, but you have found out it's a completely different thing altogether. So it's better for you to narrow your mind. In fact, the thing that may interest a white man or white woman is different from what you think. You are not coming over here to reinvent the wheel. It could be, when you think about maternal health and child health, okay, even, what will I say now? Like, how to dispose pads, the pad that women use in their period. I don't know. I think there could be a research around it, which, two of you can understand what I'm trying to say. You can talk about the hygiene aspect. What about those who reuse it? It may be, I know it's very, very appalling to say that people could reuse their pad, but it does happen. People could use a piece of cloth for their pad. It does happen. What about the hygiene aspect of it? The impact to mental health and also the overall health of any female. What about the subsequent infections that accompany such things? So we need to look into research surrounding those areas. And you talk about the social determinants of health. You talk about external factors like income, education, and environment influence NCD risk and outcomes. Can you believe that somebody's income can, affect the non-communicable disease? You ask yourself, how could that be? Okay, these are areas one has to look into. When you talk about non-communicable disease, you're not talking only about diabetes and cancer. You talk about cardiovascular problem, respiratory issues. These are problems. People with chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, emphysema, chronic bronchitis. All these are major issues underlying in these areas. And now how do you integrate it into what we are going through? Like, if you come out you're living in a public yard, 10 people may be using their generators. Constance and Rita, Have
Sir?
you been to places where it is emission-free zones?
Sure.
For you to drive into those areas, you have to pay extra money. True or false?
It's true.
Very true. Very
Now,
true.
can you imagine somebody now using in a compound where 10 people, 10 families living differently are using their generators? So they will bring it and put it in front of their door.
It's
And can
crazy.
you imagine the consequence of breathing carbon monoxide,
The noise aspect.
the noise pollution over time? What could that cause? You know, these are areas, people who are in public health, you think about all these things. So many things to think about. You think about the non-communicable disease in younger populations, increasing focus on childhood and adolescent risk factors, like early life obesity and lifelong cardiovascular risk. Can you imagine that? Just like Rita said, the use of tobacco and alcohol and other, what is it called now? Substance abuse. There are so many of them. Amphetamine, marijuana, eyes. In Nigeria, they have colos. You have name them. These are problems. They are major problems. They talk about multi-morbidity and aging. Of course, it will definitely come. Recognizing and managing patients with multi-chronic conditions, especially older people. Somebody who is elderly is likely to suffer from hypertension, of course. Is likely to suffer from diabetes. Is likely to suffer from COPD. But you think about what are the management pathways among these cohorts. Okay, so you know, when you develop an integrated patient-centered care models, you will see that you're sellable. You are sellable. There are a lot of emerging research opportunities which you can use implementation science to tackle. They are there. So our students are more or less a little bit distracted. I think that's the word I want to use. Some of them who are serious, some of you who are serious from day one to the time you graduated, of course, you're unstoppable. You know where you are. Do you know there's a problem with climate change at NCD? Yes. Examining how climate-related factors like heat, food insecurity, pollution affect NCDs. These are research opportunities. Then you develop adaptive health systems that mitigate climate-related health risks. Look at what we suffered about 5 years ago now, COVID. COVID now has become a common flu, whether you like it or not. This is COVID that claimed millions of people in this planet Earth. Now, but yet COVID is still there. We are not trying to undermine the consequences of COVID. But still, there are a lot of studies going in there. Some of the studies that were carried out then, they were in a hurry. It is now we need to look back. And some of us who took the vaccine, how do we feel? I've looked after people who took the vaccine and they became paralyzed up to today. Those are the side effects of COVID. And nobody's talking about that. And still, you know, those who are into research are calling for people who could venture into this area. Find out what really happened. They know that University of Cambridge produced one vaccine. The other one was produced by GSK. And which other one? So nothing is being done. It's like there is silence in those areas. So we need to study how COVID may contribute to or exacerbate NCDs like diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Do you know it's possible? Because COVID was a pathogen, a foreign body that entered into our body, true or false? And it affected so many things. And what nobody has noticed that, okay, during the time of combating COVID, the first medication that was used was dexamethasone. Dexamethasone was a steroid. Somebody who is taking dexamethasone, whether you're injecting it or whether you are taking the tablet, you have up to 90% chances of becoming diabetic. Now, those who took those medications, and the other one, what is it called? Remdesivir. Those who took those medications then ended up being diabetic today. So what played on? What really happened? I don't know if I'm making a point here. So something happened. Okay, so and nobody's talking about it. That has been swept under the carpet. There are areas like tomatogenomics and new drug development. It's a new opportunity. You check the gene interaction that affects treatment outcomes in chronic diseases like cancer and diabetes. These are some of the things we need to explore. Food systems and nutrition science. Research on ultra-processed foods. Don't you people agree? You agree with me now that over-processed food is not good. Am I right? That some of the food we eat back home with a little bit of fiber is even more nutritious and even, health friendly than all this over-processed food already made. Once you bring it, you drop it in the microwave and you're good to go. Over time, what is the consequence? Now they trigger, some neoplasia cells, carcinogenic cells that are rapidly fast growing. And before you know it, whether you're a woman or a man, mainly women, because of fat deposits in your body. Women, because of fat deposits in your body, it tends to thrive more on your body system than the men. But that doesn't mean that men don't suffer from cancerous problems. Because we have over more than 200 spots on the body that cancer can grow. More than 200 spots. I know that the most common ones we talk about breast cancer, prostate cancer, lung cancer, all those, but there are more. Have you talked about anything finishing with OM? Melanoma, of course, it's cancer. Cancer of the skin, cancer of the this. There are this one I told people about, DIE, that's the acronym, DIE. Go and check it. So it will not spare you. What of cancer of the hypothalamus? Inoperable. You cannot operate on it. Once you detect that somebody has cancer there, what you do is tender loving care. But there are things that are triggering all these things. You can also ask yourself if you have access to hospitals overseas. You may not wonder, why do we have more people suffering from cancer than we have back home? Every food we eat over here is processed. Tell me which one that's not processed, and I will tell you that it is processed. Do you think going to your backyard to collect vegetable, ugu, or collect plot, what will I call it, mango, without any kind of crossbreed and genetic manipulation? You think we are not blessed? I think we are blessed, but So imagine people who have been subjected for a lifetime eating all this food, eating them all. They every day when they're thinking about how can they crossbreed mango to apple or make it bigger than what it is this year. And look, so what am I saying here is you can find yourself as a public student with Rockefeller Foundation. Yes, Rockefeller is mainly on agriculture, but yes, you can find yourself on people who are FDA, Food and Drugs Association, depending on what you're telling them and what you want to discover. Food systems and nutrition. So you can also find out those things. Global health and equity considerations, growing emphasis on equitable access to care, local capacity building, and inclusion of low and middle income countries in NCD research? Who global action plan for NCD? Now ask yourself, who global action plan for NCD? Uchukocha will also mention, may speak better. What who is interested in malaria? Maybe all these parasites, elephantiasis that causes elephantiasis, filarial worm, lower, onchocerciasis, onchocercal volvulus, all those stuff, because you cannot find it over here or there. Snake bite, I don't know. Since you moved overseas, have you had any snake bite? Or have you walked in the night and you suspect that you could face snake bite? No. They are putting their eyes on this. We are strongly marginalized Africans. But also we're helping ourselves because we are not reasonable. Right from the top to the bottom.
That's true.
Okay? Because if we are, I challenged International Diabetes Federation. That was 2013. So I moved in. I registered as somebody from the UK, and I was here then. I was back in Nigeria. I was also coming over here to work, but I registered as somebody. I think a Canadian or British. I don't know what I used, but I used. No, I didn't mention Nigeria. And now they were speaking to me, International Diabetes Federation. This is the highest body on diabetes. They were communicating to me, talking to me, and then in the middle of the thing, when I've gotten somebody I was speaking to, I changed the tone. I told them, truly speaking, I'm a Nigerian, but I live here. I have a citizenship of this country. Look at what is going on. If being black is one of the risk factors of diabetes, of somebody becoming diabetic, then what are people doing with Africans? What are people doing in Nigeria? All the money given by governments, America is bringing out on this, especially the NIH, that are pushing into diabetes, is only here. If you are diabetic, you are free, you have free glucometer, free treatment, anything about it is free. It's here, it's there in the US. It's also in Canada. Then in Africa, where a lot of people are poor, people are suffering. Diabetes is not a cheap disease. Nobody's talking about it. So I was telling them, I threatened them, I'm going to BBC and CNN. I'm going there to speak that we are strongly marginalized and stuff. I made my case. I vented my anger. So I was invited. I don't know whether you remember when I traveled to Singapore. I shared the story with some of you in the class, those of you who are still in school. I went to Singapore to represent the whole of West Africa, an educational summit on diabetes. Now, today, Nigerian doctors, when I came back, some of them were asking, who is this person? Is he part of the Nigerian Medical Council? Is he part of this Nigerian Medical Association? Is he this? I'm in their platform. I am in their platform because I've met a lot of them in conferences in Quebec, in Australia, where we met. Now they're asking. And some of them who knew me said, no, he's not a doctor, but he's a nice guy who has been also vocal about what we're doing. One particular man, I don't want to mention his name, but he's from the Southeast. He was like, who is this person who, this is something he has been advocating for since the year 1981, that now it materialized. Where did they bring me from? This, that. I didn't even say anything. But let me tell you something. Today, Nigerian doctors, they are going to Netherlands every year. They will be invited, attend a program for 2-3 weeks on diabetes education, courtesy of me. This is what I achieved in 2000 when I went to 2014 in Singapore. Okay, so why am I telling you this long story? I want you to understand that where there is a will, Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Where there is a will, there is a way. Where there is a will, there is a way. But you see, what is most important is once you have made up your mind that you are interested in doing any research, it is very, very important that you identify your area of interest. It is a very strong. It doesn't matter what is this what Mrs. Rita is doing. I like this your area. So at the end of it, you say, please, can you send me some of the materials you used in doing this? It's not what we're talking about. You have to discover your area. Chukwacha, my colleague, discovered this area quite early, just like I discovered my area quite early. And he has maintained that pathway. He has been around the world with that. So when you discover your area of interest, now you narrow your focus. Narrow your focus. If you're talking about cancer, you may be interested in molecular oncology. You can be talking about those who survive from cancer, or probably those about screening program on cancer. If you're talking about diabetes, you can be talking about digital health tools, like insulin delivery systems, lifestyle interventions. You are talking about maybe cardiovascular. These are NCDs. If you are talking about cardiovascular, you can say, okay, let me go into hypertension and think about what will I say? What is the research interest? Go to PubMed, go to ResearchGate, go to Google Scholars. Check research or researches in that area that could meet up with what you're thinking about. You can adapt it to your own environment. If you're interested in stroke or heart failure, there are a lot of them. If you're interested in chronic respiratory disease, like the one that's caused by air pollution and asthma, COPD management, do you ask yourself now, which population or setting do I want to work? Is it in low middle income countries? We are in low middle income countries. Is it in urban area or poor area, rural areas? Do you want to deal with adults or children? You have to ask yourself this. You can even start with small scale research or project. You can do a literature review. You can do a systematic review. You can do some public health surveys like CAP studies, knowledge aptitude and practice studies. Okay? WHO. You check WHO studies, CDC, IHME. All those stuff are things that mean something to you. You may not be publicated. It could be you're somebody from the lab scientist. You ask yourself, do you want it to be laboratory or clinical observation based on shadowing by mini projects and stuff like that? This builds credibility and give you experience with scientific methods. Okay? Then you like these previous speakers, they dwell so much about finding a mentor. You must find a mentor. Mentor is very important. Yes, you are intelligent, no doubt about it. Your mentor could be a university lecturer or anybody who has time for you. Okay? If that person is ready to listen to you, fine. You can also explore some NCD-related departments like public health, medicine, medical, biology or nursing, research institutions. You can look for NCD-focused centers. Example, research units, technology department if you're doing diabetes, or cancer research units. Okay? You attend conferences, whether it is local or global. Approach the speakers, ask questions. You can also, like I told you earlier on, go to check on ResearchGate, some research that will meet up your needs. Check Google Scholar, check LinkedIn, connect with people. You connect with people. If you go to LinkedIn, search, you see people who are in the area you want. In the area you want. I know what I'm talking about. I'm in the UK as I speak to you. It's not as if I'm hiding myself. I had a conference in June. Okay. In that conference, I met an NGO here in the UK who have promised to give me 6,000 glucometers. It sounds a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Yes. But you see, the condition I'm giving them is, if people are ready to ship it for me, I'm glad I'll give you the address. But if you're not ready to ship it for me, well, I don't think I will carry them. So they told me they will get back to me. They will check themselves, check their funding. I know I've had what is it called? Challenge in the past from EFCC in Nigeria. Probably most of you may not know. I am representing Insulin for Life in Nigeria. Any hospital or organization that is requiring free insulin in Nigeria, if you write to them, they will refer you to me. I'm representing them. So as I speak to you, even as I talk now, my insulin is in the air coming to Owerri. Or rather, coming to the last time I checked, it was in Frankfurt, Germany. So what am I doing? All these things, these are efforts we are making. Those of you who are closer to me also know that I give insulin to people who are diabetic, whether type 1 or type 2. I am not here to teach about diabetes. That's not what I was asked to do. Maybe that will be another day. So I am this particular organization also sent me what is it called? Crates of about 12 pallets of medical supplies. So while I was away, I overstayed here, and before I arrived in Nigeria, it entered into demurrage. I could not bring it out. Okay. I am the one controlling them. They're ready to send me as much thing with regards to diabetes management as I want. So why am I sharing this story with you people? I've passed the level of applying for scholarship. I've had it all. I studied with scholarship in Malta. I moved on to the United States. I was there for some time studying, practicing. From United States, I moved to Canada, Toronto, Canada. From Canada, I came down to England. And from England, I came to Futo. Futo is still holding me. But there's no problem. We are doing our best. So what I'm talking about now is there are also global mentorship. If you don't want to, if you have exhausted the local mentors back home, you can also access global mentors like WHO internships, NCD Child, AMPAT, PATS, Global Health Course. All you need to do is send a polite, concise email, introducing yourself, who you are. You write your research interests, why you want to work with them, a proposed area or area you'd like to explore, and then you attach your CV. Okay? So once you join them and join the research programs, then you can also start looking for research programs. You can start looking for research programs, or summer internships, global fellowship like NCD. We have spoken so much about NCDs. Global fellowship like NIH, We have mentioned it a lot. Now, global fellowship in this case is NIH Fogati. NIH Fogati. Global NCD Scholars. NCD Alliance Internship. These are areas you can explore. You can also check out, health department, but I know nothing back in Nigeria. Well, I won't say nothing is happening there. Things are happening, but it's just that it's happening to those who they want to give anything to. So, you can also join some NGOs or hospitals. Doing some voluntary work also pays. I know that we are money-minded. If money is not coming out of whatever you're doing, well, that one doesn't concern you. Develop yourself on core research skills, and you may be trained in epidemiology and biostatistics. It's very important. You can also learn how to do scientific writing and presentation. It's an advantage. Okay, so I don't want to. There are so many free resources also available, like Coursera. Coursera, example, epidemiology for public health, EDX, Who platform. Join John Hopkins. All these are areas one can explore to get, at least get attached with them. By the time you are doing something, find your own niche in this among these people. Right there, you will be able to have somebody who is interested in what you're doing. But you cannot say remain in the house. You say, I want to be this, I want to be that. You want to be this, you want to be that. If there's something they used to speak in Igbo language, they say better soup in a monikila, true or false? So if you want better soup, you have to work hard now. You have to work hard. So you network with NCD research communities. Okay, so all this is mentioning here. If you are able to check them and also know where you belong, know that yes, this is what I want. Like Rita stressed when she was talking, don't be in a hurry to submit. Okay, unless you want to try a lot, but it will look a little bit, depressing if you send email to 20 universities and none of them reply. So you won't be able to try another day, another time. But if you are now, you have learned the act, understood what it means very well, it is that writing is an act. Don't think that maybe because I'm a lecturer, this lecturer may be better than me. It's not true. It's not true. This is an act you need to develop. And I have had several times, Innocent David Chinechere. He has also, delivered some seminars about writing and, proposal writing and stuff like that. I've seen that he has forwarded to me. And you look out for such things, believe me. Look out for such things. Where they do them? Search YouTube. Ask YouTube some questions. Okay, you will understand better. And nowadays we're living in a digital age. AI can also help you to get what you're looking for. But what is important is that, according to William Blake, that the greatest mistake is the mistake of not moving. Is the mistake of not moving. Now I am here today. I was talking with my wife about a few days ago. I asked her, by the grace of God, for my life in the next 5 years, look at what I want to be. And I've outlined my goals, what I want to achieve. You cannot be static in this life. There's no particular time you will say, I've arrived. I'm okay where I am. If any time you are okay where you are doomed. Sorry to use the word. You're not going anywhere. Okay? Even the Bible will tell you, do not ease in Zion. What does it want you to be doing? To be praying, to be more very, very aggressive with what you're doing, without stepping on anybody's toes. Mind your own business. Continue to do what you're doing. You see, one thing that we should convince you is that, or help you to understand what we're talking about, is that these two women here, Constance Eze and Rita Chukwu, they were once like you, planning how to come, planning how to move over. Now is history. So I will continue to use that word: where there is a will, there is a way. Okay? If you say you can't make it, you are the one telling yourself I can't make it. Because in the plan of God, He has a plan for you. He has something for you. Maybe probably you don't know now, because you have not asked. If you ask, you will receive. It's only when you ask, you receive and knock. That will mean the door will be open. And if you remain on your comfort zone, some people will complain about data. That is the irony. You complain about data, they burn data. Of course, it will burn data. You have to make some search. You have to read. It is when you read, you understand what the area you want to apply, what they do. So when you are holding them, you say, I am writing because this is this and that. You mention some specific things that are, intrinsic in that particular area, so that they will know that, you know what we're doing, and they will listen to you. So, but when I told you to write one particular letter, that letter is encompassing. It is there. What it does is, when you want to kind of adjust, depending on any particular area you want to push it to, you bring it. Rita and Constance told you everything. What I'm doing here is wasting your time. That's the way I feel. Yes. If you go to any particular university, there's always a lecturer that is in the department you want to apply. A lot of them, they will see that their pictures and their names are there. Okay. If their emails are there most times. Okay. So click on that person that appeals to you. Probably Google more about him, read what he does, which is the research area, like she mentioned. Start initiate a communication between you and that person. Tell the person who you're interested. The person can even guide you to do it this way and that way. Or maybe he's expanding funding on this area. Not this year, next year. My dear, do something. I think that's the bottom line. You need to do something. Do something, my dear. Not to see Igbo. I don't know how many of you. I know that some people are not Igbo speaking, but I want to say this in Igbo. And that is true. So if I can translate it very well, God does not forget anybody unless you have forgotten yourself. So if it is true that God is remembering you, He remembered the day He created you. He remembers that you're in this part of the world called Nigeria. He knows your heart desires that are pleasing to Him. And you are effectively working hard to achieve this. Even in prayer, say the effective prayers of the righteous availeth what? Much. That's what the Bible says. So if you are working diligently, that's the word, you will overcome. And whatever thing we are today is as a result of diligence and hard working. I don't want to continue to talk because so having said that, a little bit about myself, which is obviously I'm your lecturer. You have known me for God knows how many years now. So my own journey started from Unijos. I had my first degree from Unijos. Okay, I was opportune while I was there doing my masters. One of my cousins, a very good cousin, who helped me now. I applied for what is it called? Paid my my acceptance fee. Dr. Godwin Amaruko is his name. He he paid my acceptance fee, to come to Malta. That was it. And then I was sent the invitation, invitation to apply for a visa. But the visa then also, they don't have embassy in Nigeria. So the visa was sent to me from Malta, and that was the beginning of my story. So when I got to Malta, I studied nursing, bachelor's degree. I continued, did master's, then came back. Then after that, I went to US, worked a bit at Westchester Medical Center in Valhalla, in New York. So from there, I moved to Toronto, in St. Michael's, in downtown Toronto. So I was there a couple of years, and then came back to England. So I was working at King's College Hospital in London when I applied to come to FUTE to lecture. So I've continued the lecturing, but from time to time, I come here to the UK and do some work. I mean, can you imagine a nurse staying in Nigeria? Those of you who are now overseas, you can see there's a lot of sacrifice. Am I right? It is a lot of sacrifice, financially, whether I like it or not. But it's unfortunate that my colleagues don't understand it from that point of view. It is because I love Nigeria, and I believe that Nigeria will be better someday. So, and then sometime in 2019, not 2017, I went back to Cambridge to study diabetes, master's on diabetes. So that was my last degree, and then came back and continued to do what we are doing. So today, by the grace of God, we have reached the apogee of lecturing, and I'm most grateful to Almighty God. The thing is that, like I always said, I encourage you, those of you who are listening patiently, do not look down on yourself. Do not say, I can't. If you say you can't, it's self-defeat. If you say you can't, you can't. Okay? But if you say I can, you can. Okay? So all you need is guidance. Guidance here and there, and you are there. Tomorrow you'll be talking to people like you. So that's what I want you to do. Thank you very much.
God bless you, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that wonderful talk. So, guys, time is fast spent, but what we are here for is really very important. So, moving on to our last speaker, and a very wonderful personality, and person of Professor U.M. Chukwuka. And he'll be speaking to us on navigating and securing research, grant, and global health opportunities. So Professor U.M. Chukwuka is a professor of public health at the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, where he previously served as the head of the Department of Public Health with a PhD in medical and public health parasitology. Professor Chukwuka has received multiple international fellowships, including the Fulbright Scholarship USA, CWAS Fellowship, Germany and Mexico, and grants from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and TET Fund. He leads the Innovation and Technologies for Disease Control Interdec Research Group, pioneering mobile applications, e.g. the No Malaria, Macro HCA, etc., wearable sensor systems, and gamified platforms for disease prevention. He also established a molecular epidemiology laboratory for the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and leads work on digital image surveillance for neglected tropical diseases. His research and mentoring span infectious diseases, digital health, grantsmanship, and interdisciplinary public health innovations. In this webinar, Professor Chukwuka will offer valuable insights on navigating global health research, building winning building winning grant portfolios, and leading health innovation in Africa and beyond. Our dear participants, let us welcome our speaker for tonight, Professor Chukwuta. If you want to learn about grants, just stay put. Thank you. So I may have the floor.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
The night is far spent, and I'm feeling very sleepy right now. They said I should be sleeping early. They said I should be sleeping early and long enough to help my mental health. You know, I'm planning to retire at 50, which is a few years from now. So I don't need to be stressing myself so much right now. So anyway, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's always a privilege to, share some thoughts with, people. And I'd like to thank Innocent and his team for putting this together. And my colleagues that have spoken before me, all my colleagues, So I'd like to, yes, Constance, you're my colleague, all my colleagues. The work we are doing right now, my co-researchers are Emma, Chibueze, Collins, Ashinze. They are my co-researchers in the recent grants that were executed right now. So I'll start by encouraging. I can see that people are withdrawing already. We have about 90 people when we started. We are now 65.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'll just speak on a few things, and then probably some other time So I like to start by encouraging everyone here. I can see that most of the people here are still at the undergraduate level, or people getting into the master's degree level. So I like to encourage everyone. By the way, Professor Okoro didn't mention when he was talking about his degree. He didn't mention that he got a PhD from FUTO.
Oh.
He did. Yes, didn't he? I think he got a PhD from FUTO. Yeah, so that would have been important to mention as well, So why I decided to mention it is to encourage everyone here. It's not everybody that can study overseas. It is not everybody. And studying overseas, that you didn't study overseas doesn't mean that you cannot make it big, or you can't get yourself up there and even do better than the people that studied overseas. Nothing says that. So studying overseas involves a lot of money that you have to pay. So if you're not able to get some funding to support that, and you don't have the money to pay out of your pockets to do that, what do you do? So don't have that type of, inferiority mindset, because a lot of everybody is running overseas, and you have to go there. Then if you don't, you become destabilized, and then you can't do anything else with your life. That's not true. Myself, I didn't study overseas. I did in fact, the university I went to is one of the universities I rated lowest, right? Imo State University. I did first degree there, second degree, then the third degree. After my first degree, I applied for a master's degree in the UK. I was accepted, but there was no funding. My father said he didn't have any money to send me anywhere. So I had to stay back here and did the master's. I don't think there's anybody that studied overseas that is doing better than me. I don't think there's any professor overseas in our research area that is better than me, even the white people. Nobody. So you have to have that confidence in yourself. So the most important thing there is for you to try to be able to make yourself someone that adds value or creates value. Somebody who is a problem solver. Right? a critical or deep thinker. That's the important thing to do. And the time to begin to build yourself in that direction is right now. To think critically, to think deep. Look at your environment and ask yourself, how do we solve these problems? In the public health way, in any other way that is possible. How can I solve this problem? Then you begin to think of ideas, And so what I tell people all the time is that whatever idea that comes into your head, no matter how stupid it looks or how foolish it may sound to other people, put it very close to your chest. If you have a note, write it down there and begin to think of how to execute that idea. And that's how it starts. Okay. So, research grants, right? Research grants are actually funding mechanisms for original investigations, and requires a very competitive application process. You see, so but I don't know that for you. I don't know if this actually is for people. Most of the people in this platform, because research grants actually have to get to a certain level in your career before you begin to talk about applying for grants and leading researches. But now most of the people that I see here will at best be research assistants, right? Which means that you have to assist people who are leading researches, people who are qualified to apply for grants and lead researches. So you start from assisting them and learning. And that is the reason why Rita and Constance will have to align with the research interest of the professors that brought them in. I've had that experience too. It may not necessarily be your own research interest. Rita was an environmentalist, environmental health person, but now he's into adolescent health, right? Which is the research interest of her host, not necessarily. But because we are desperate, we need this funding and we need to go out there. So we have to align, and that's the truth. Like I said, I've experienced it. My postdoc, I had a proposal that won me the postdoc, but when I got there, the woman said, look at what you are doing, it's not this thing that you apply for. I had to align so that they won't chase me away. So that is the way it is, right? So at best, what you have to do right now is to begin to mold yourself into a critical thinker, a deep thinker, somebody who is able to identify public health problems and be able to ideate, ways of solving those problems. You have to begin to build yourself, towards that. That's the best that you can do, little by little, So by the time you get to the point where you will be qualified to apply for grants, then ideas will be coming to you naturally. So that is very, very important. You have to focus first. If you're an undergraduate student, the foundations that you have to build, right? You have to focus on your studies very seriously to make sure you come off with very good grades. Make a first class. Very, very important. If you have a first class, like Constance, you'll be sought after. If you put in something anywhere and they see you have a first class, they will consider you before any other person. And that's the truth. So work towards that. Make sure you work towards getting that first class. Right? But if you don't get it, do one, okay, no problem. But work hard and get that first class. Then mentorship. Like I always tell people, something must attract you to, some people. For me, what attracted me to the people that mentored me was car. Say they used to drive good cars. So I like to be like these people who drive good cars. But when I got close to them, eventually, I began to learn some things, and and that's very good because they are top research individuals, right? So I also was able to get involved in their research activities. They had a few grants where I went in to help assist them, collect data and all that. And then again, while doing this, there's money in grants, some money, but money in grants is for executing the projects. But a lot of people want to focus on how much they are going to get into their pockets from there, right? So I'm working. In fact, there was a particular project. It was a local, just a little funded work that we did for the Imo State government at that time. They didn't pay me anything. They just gave me transport money. I collected all the data, did all the analysis and all that. I didn't complain. But right now, you have some people working under you. They'll be looking at how much is in the grant, asking you. They are looking at how much they will come and say, is something wrong with you? Are you the person that came up with this idea? If you don't want to do this thing, you get away. So the focus for you right now is to be able to go in there, understand what these people are doing, and get some of the skills and prepare yourself for the time ahead. Prepare yourself for your own time. That's number one. Number two is that you must be able to also, and sometimes I tell people that I'm a rebel. Rebel in the sense that I want to deviate from what other people are doing. You must be somebody that has a mind of your own. You have to have a mind of your own to be able to, like I said, identify problems and be able to come up with your own solutions to those problems and get them down, begin to develop them into papers, concept notes, and all that, and keep them. One day there will be opportunities where you can throw them in. Now, research grants help you to get some money that will help you, that will aid you in executing those ideas that you have, and bringing them to reality. Because a lot of times, to execute those ideas may involve or may be costly or expensive, and you may not have the funds to do that, which means that your ideas will die with you. So what research grants do is that they support you in executing those ideas and bringing them to reality to solve those problems. There are different types of grants. Now there are basic grants for basic research. You know what basic research is? Research that is just done to expand knowledge, okay, or to understand situations or phenomena, just like KAP studies and some of these studies we do. But they are not so much. It's usually for early career people, people who are just starting career. So I get basic research grant for basic research, and then they use it for. But after carrying out that research, it's expected that you build upon that for something higher. Then there are also grants for implementation research. Those are where most of the funds go into now. That is research that you are carrying out and solving a problem at the same time, which is why I said I have to be a problem solver. Okay. So, all right, am I supposed to talk about grants and the way they are done? So, if you are interested in what most of our people are not really interested in applying for grants because the processes are very too rigorous. And some people, when they apply the first time or the second time and they fail, they relax and say, we can't do this. I mean, it happens. Even 2 weeks ago, I had a decline of an application, a research grant that I applied for. They rejected it, but I won't stop. I'll continue to chase it and pursue the money because there's money in it. So, but for you to prepare yourself for grants, first of all, like I said, one of the early things that you have to start doing is that you have to identify a research area, right? And begin to build a research profile in that area. Begin to build a research profile in that area, understand that area very well. So that when it is time to apply for a grant, you already know what you can put in place and how it aligns with what you've been doing initially. Two is that when you apply for grants, one of the requirements is that you submit some of your publications. The reason for that requirement for you to submit some of your publications is so that reviewers will see if you are actually going to be, if you are going to be competent in what you say you want to do. They don't want to see what you have done previously in that area, right? So that is very, very important. If your research, I tell my colleagues all the time, so all the things about you publish in skeleton, today you see somebody that's publishing about skeleton, you say, put my name. Then you see another person that is publishing on malaria, say, put my name. You see, no. So when you apply for some of these things and they say submit your publications, then they look at it and say, no, this person is not, is he jack of all trades? He's not serious. So you have to build a research profile in a particular area, maintain it. So when they say, this person is an authority in this area. And so that's one of the things that will help, Then, how do you identify the research grant calls? So grant calls come in every year. There are cycles that you can find them. If you go online and search, you see calls for research grants. If you go to platforms like LinkedIn, if you are there, you'll be seeing them pop up from time to time. If you are connected with platforms like funds for NGOs and all that, you will see them come up all the time. So it's now left for you to identify that those ones that you are interested in. All right. So there are a few ways to approach it, or some ways to approach it. One is that, like I said, if you have some ideas, you put them down on paper and begin to develop a research concept around it. But by then, you would have known the basic steps in developing a concept note. You have something like your introduction, right? Objectives, justification for the study, the significance of the study, just like you did your research project, right? Objectives, then approach to the study or methodology, expected outcomes, that is expected results, expected impacts of the results, monitoring, evaluation and learning plan, right? That you have to know how to craft these things or put them together. Your references and all that, you put them together and keep them. So what happens in my own case is that, or what I've done is that if I have an idea and put the concept note together, I have one that you students, you don't have students of your own. But at some point, what I did was that when I have these ideas and they're giving me undergraduate students to supervise, I test these ideas with the students. I bring them together, so let's work on this. So when we work on them, first of all, start seeing if this idea, if this research interest I have is viable. If it is viable, that's number one. Number two is that it also helps you during the grant application, if you're applying it in that area, to show that you're doing something there already. You may even have some preliminary data. That's something very small that you can use to tell them that you have done a prospective research on this. So look at what it is showing. It is now very important for us to expand on it. You see. So, but for you that do not have students, just put your ideas and create a file in your computer and just be keeping them there. So when you now see those calls for research and all the grants and all that, one day you will see one that aligns with some of those your ideas. Some of the things that I've done, okay, like the one that we are doing right now, it's something that I've developed since maternal and child health self-risk assessment, since a long time. So when I saw that call for Grand Challenges Nigeria, I said, this is it now. I went and brought it out where it has been for 10 years and brought it out and now worked on it again and tailored it to the needs of the research body, and then we put it in and we got it. And so many other things, right? The other way to do this is that You know that there are global research trends. There are global research trends, right? And how you know these research trends is that if you check conferences in public health, conferences, you look at their teams. In particular years, you may see that their teams are tending towards the same thing somehow. It is AI. You see that a lot of them will be tending towards something about artificial intelligence or something. We are talking about genomics. You see that some of them will be tending towards that. That's how you know that this is the trend for this period. And you see a lot of the grant organizations, aligning their call towards that trend. So when you study and find the global trend, the research trend, you begin to think of how you're going to fix yourself in with your own little idea. Okay? Like I said, research grants will only fund studies that are impactful, that are solving problems. So you have to make sure that you're introducing something different, something nobody has seen or heard before, no matter how stupid it sounds or looks, and something that is solving a problem. Okay? Now, when you have found those calls for research grant applications, you have to now take your time to study those calls very, very well. Study the requirements, eligibility, guidelines, very, very important to understand what they really expect and some of the things that you have to bring into it. It's not easy at all, and also understand you have to pay attention to the fact that these calls have deadlines, right? So you have to try to put in your application way before the deadline, because some of them you may have an opportunity to going back to the platform there to edit one or two things. You understand? So you have to try as much as possible to send in your application before the deadline. Don't wait till a day. That's what some people like to do. They want to wait till the deadline to submit. What if there was a mistake you made or something comes into your head? You don't have an opportunity to go back there to do this thing. So it is usually very, very rigorous. The processes are very, very rigorous. And then apart from the proposal or the concept notes, okay, so some of the stages, some of the research grants may require people to submit concept notes initially that will be reviewed, and then the ones that they think are fundable will now be selected, and they ask you to now send in the full proposal, right? While some of them will just require you to send in the full proposal. Then apart from the proposal that you're sending in, there are other documents that you're expected to come up with or submit alongside your resume or CV or bio, number one. And then a list of your publications, which is very important. Like I said, you have to show capacity through your research publications. You have to show that you have a profile already built, along that line through your research publications. Then, like I said, okay, research grants are usually awarded to institutions and organizations, not the individual. So for you to understand that the grant that you have is not you. You may be the principal investigator or the executor of the research grant, but the grant is not awarded to you. So they will always require a letter of support from your organization or your institution, that you have to submit. A lot of times they will also require an ethical approval or ethical clearance. So these are some of the documents that you may have to make sure that you gather on time before you begin to submit. Some even may require you to submit, in fact, a lot of them will require to submit a statement of account of your organization or institution. Like on Futo now, you have to submit a statement of account of the university, and what other documents? So, and some may even want you to also submit some like reference letters from some other people and all that. So you have to make sure. So applying for a research grant now means that you have to begin to prepare probably ahead of the call. If you understand how to follow grants, you wait for them for the next year. You begin this year to prepare. By that time, you have studied the research trends. You already know the area that these people may want to align their grants with. So you begin to prepare your concept note and your proposals and begin to gather your documents so that once they call, you read their guidelines and all that, and then tailor whatever you have to what their requirements are, what their guidelines say, and then try to submit ahead of time. And then I begin to wait for the reviews. Some of the reviews may have to do with, communicating with you. If there's something they do not understand, they communicate with you and tell you, look at this and this. But some will do blind review. At the end of the day, they will throw in their results. If you won it, they tell you, okay, you've won. If you didn't win, they just tell you, we are sorry, we had too many applications this time. I'm sorry that your own couldn't make it. And nobody is going to tell you the reasons why yours couldn't make it. Right? But then if you apply and you don't win it, some people will get discouraged. Or you don't get discouraged. Okay? Throw it in again the next time. Probably read through it by yourself and see if there are any deficiencies. You may find by the time you have started getting more experience. So you will find some of those deficiencies by yourself, and then you begin to improve, on it. So you have to keep applying until you win one, And once you win one, and you're able to execute it successfully, and account for the money they gave you. Budgeting is another part that is very, very important. Budgeting used to be very, very rigorous. For you to be able to align your budget to your research, every atom of it, very, very rigorous. And it is very, very important that you also learn how to do budgeting, research budgeting, and then also your research plan, like the Gantt chart, your research activities, outcomes, and the timelines of execution. You have to get all these things. So if it is very important, if you win one and you execute it properly and have very good outcomes, very good outcomes, and it makes impacts, and you're able to account for the money they've given you, that's it. That's just it. And then from there, you see that it will be easy for you to be able to apply for grants, and it won't be difficult for you to win. Sometimes they will even send you the application. They will alert you that they are going to make a call for so and so thing before time, that you should throw in an application. Right? By that time, they have built confidence. There's confidence now. And then they are sure that you are one of those people that they can use. The people that are giving you, it's not like they are doing you any favor, because they are there, yes. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, charity and philanthropists and all that. But they want to, they know their names all over the world. They want their name to be heard. They want people to know that they are doing this thing. So it's also to their own benefit. So it's not like much of a favor is being done to you. You are partners. They are funding, you are doing the work. So everybody is winning. So, like I said when I started, for us at this level, what we need to do is to begin to build ourselves, prepare ourselves, for the time ahead, by first of all, making sure that we study how to make those good grades that will give us very competitive advantage. Find mentors that can help us to, navigate some of these terrains, that we can ask questions, honest questions, and they answer us. And then, if you find where you can be a research assistant, very important, so you gain some experience in the lab and the field. that will also help you in times to come. And most importantly, don't ever feel that because you are not able to get it the first time, that you can't get it anymore. You can always get it as long as you're diligent and that you're consistent. So I think I'm going to drop it here now. It's almost 12 midnight. And if there are any questions, I don't know if we'll be able to answer questions here right now. If we drop the questions, we'll answer the questions and then send to the individuals. But if you want us to answer questions now, we can still go ahead. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you, Prof.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Because of time, why we'll not be taking questions, but what we'll do is we'll get the questions from the participants. We'll send in an email where the participants will be able to throw in their questions, and then we'll relate it to each of the speakers and then give them their feedback. I think that's
Okay, but wait, hold on. I think for some of them to stay till this time, if we can get just 2 questions.
okay.
Two, yeah. So
Yeah, so please, if you want to ask any question, you can go ahead. Is there anyone that wants to ask a question? Okay. Yeah, please.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. So, thank you so much for the elaborate explanations and insights. I enjoyed this section from every speaker. So, my question is directed to Professor Pipocha. So, for me, I want to ask you, what way can a researcher actually, because I learned a lot. You said you developing your publication in a particular area. So on what way can you actually identify a particular section and stick to it? Because there are so many interests in public health, just like public health is very fast. But for you, what actually gave you that inspiration and you decided to stick to a particular pathway in public health and building your publication database? That's my own question, sir. Thank you very much.
Vivian, I've seen a couple of publications from you. Have you? You've been publishing papers now, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I've seen a couple of them from you, and in good journals, which is a good one. So, first of all, I studied medical parasitology, so I already knew that my research interest was going to be about parasitic disease. Then secondly, my supervisors were researching around neglected tropical diseases then, but I wanted to do something different, so I chose to research around malaria. So one of the platforms that help you to identify and then select and stick to a particular research area could be your PhD, or if you like, your master's degree. So that's why it is very, very important that you discuss your research interests or areas, your research interests, with your supervisors, right? So that you guys select something that is of interest to you. You do that work and do it very well, and then you continue to build upon it. So my own research in PhD was on malaria. So I continued with that, even did research visits in overseas around malaria, even my postdoc around malaria. But when I came back, research interest started changing a bit but still around infectious diseases. But because I've seen that I can't have the equipment that I need to do the type of research I wanted to do, which is actually molecular level research. Even though we have come back to it now because we've been able to establish a molecular lab in Fute, even though it's very expensive. So what I did was that, and I started using my head. How do I solve infectious disease problems? And I started looking at the tools and the things that are available, right? How do I align these things to solve infectious disease problems? So research interest now became solving problems, ideas to solve infectious disease problems. Look at mobile health, information and communication approaches, community-based approaches, but all with infectious disease problem issues, and then tending towards global health. So that is how it is for me. So you can adopt different circumstances could lead to you being able to form your own research interest and then continue on that path. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's easier for you or for you to be assessed positively if you have a particular research profile that you have built. You have built a research profile in a particular research area. You're assessed more positively when you have that. Okay, and that shows in your publications. I don't know if I have answered your question, Vivian.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Is there any other person that has a question? Okay, I think I have one question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, we can. You may go ahead, please.
Yes, Prof. I think this question is going to Professor Uche. You made mention of the research proposal. Grants. So I wanted just to talk about. Ask if someone is actually research oriented, but the organization that he is actually working with, that he wants to really write the research under that organization, and the organization is new. I want to know if that is also a red flag or a positive opportunity for someone to get grants based on a strong proposal. Over to you.
Whether the organization is new or old doesn't really matter, as long as it's a registered organization and with the laws of the country. It could be an NGO, it could be a public organization like universities. In fact, I was in Abuja last week for the Gates Foundation Nigerian Partners meeting, and so I was driven with one very old professor like that, a Yoruba man, and I've been seeing this man right from my first day of attending international conferences in 2006. The man has remained there afloat. So I was in the center with him last week, and I told him, Oga, the first time I saw you, 2006, in the US. And since then, I've been seeing you in every conference until now. You're still here. And I said, my brother, what do we do now? So we are discussing around some of these things. And I told me that some of these, that when you apply for these grants, some of the documents you need, like tax, I didn't remember to tell you that tax clearances or tax clearance documents may be some of the requirements to submit your grants, your application from, tax clearance of your organization. And it may be difficult to get it from institutions like, universities and all that. That what I have to do is to register my own organization, an NGO, and use it to apply for some of these grants. which makes a lot of sense. But I told you I have an NGO, even though it's not very active. So what I'm going to do now is to go dust off the documents and refloat it. So whether it is a new organization, as long as it is registered and it is, how do you put it again, illegal, under the laws of the country, just shoot and go ahead. As long as the people at the helms of affairs there are willing to give you the support, right? Does he answer the question?
Yes, Professor, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so I want to use this opportunity to thank our speakers. I don't know if there are still questions that wants to come up. It has really been an eye-opening session, and it's really very, very exciting. Mrs. Constance Eze, Mrs. Rita Chukwu, Professor Chidozie Nwokoro, you've really been doing a lot of exploits in public health, and Professor UM Chukwacha, the father of public health.
So you should just be calling me Uche Chukwacha. I don't like all these titles, Professor this, that. Thank you.
It's well deserved. Yeah, it's very massive. It's an impactful session. And to some of our participants who will be listening to this particular recording in the future, we hope to entertain you people more. It's very much exciting, and we will also return much more advanced, building on all the insights that we've gotten from this particular session. So I want to also specially thank the team. They've really been very, very very hardworking, taking all the actions that are actually required to make sure we make these meetings a very massive success. So to our listeners, we will definitely keep you guys updated in other areas like systematic reviews, data analysis, and all that. Bringing professionals together to make sure we make you guys curious to change the world.